usually with the collage project, I like to just build one, or at least like get one pretty far in class for the demo. I just like doing the collages; they're fun for me. But also, I think it's good for you to kind of get a sense of how to work, how to approach it. So we're gonna find a bunch of images. I'm gonna set up the project folder, and we're gonna go from there. If you have access to a Wacom tablet, this project is really useful. Wacom tablets are really useful for this. The other 205, the other lab, has Wacoms attached to each computer in there. We're getting them for this lab. I don't know if we're going to have them in time. We might have them by next week, but it might be the week after, so it might not be in time for this project. And we can't unplug them because they're from the other one and bring them in here because they're locked to the computers. But in off hours, outside of class times, you can work in there, right? If you log in there with your NetIDs, your account will come up and all your projects will be there. It'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, so you could work in 205 if you wanted to, and that would be okay. Or you can just, if you're used to mouse and keyboard. Oops. Yeah, it's yours. Your video was the last one I did, I think. If you're used to just working with your mouse, that's good. If you only have a trackpad, you're gonna suffer a little bit on this one. You're gonna need to find a mouse, okay? If you absolutely have to, unplug a mouse from one of the iMacs and use it while you're in here, because you're gonna want a mouse. There's just lots of little detail, like drawing of image masks and stuff that we need to do, that you're gonna want that kind of precision, right? Unless you're a wizard at the trackpad, and if it's comfortable for you and you can do it and it's not slowing you down, fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to recommend Wacom mouse, then trackpad. So, all right, new image. I said, I think 1600 by 2000. I don't know if I have that actually set up anywhere already. Nope. I have a saved one. Sorry, yeah, okay. All right, well, we'll just make it. So 1600 by 2000. I'm going to flip it and work. Yeah, I'm going to work in portrait mode. 200, at the very least. Color mode should be RGB, or I'm sorry, CMYK. 16 bits fine. I like to start with a... Oh, it's not going to give me transparent here. I like to start with a transparent background, but I don't know that it's going to let me do a transparent. There we go. Transparent background. Okay, the rest of this stuff is fine. Hit create. I am going to drop a layer, though, right on top and make this layer white. So I just made a new layer down here. I'm going to switch my colors. You do that by clicking on this. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Nope. All right, my zoom doesn't work on my Wacom. You just can click this little right arrow or hit Shift X to swap your active colors. So the one in front on top is your active color. The one in the back is just a secondary color. Grab my paint bucket and just drop some white right there. So I have a white layer and a transparent layer. This is just in case I want to be able to see what some things look like. You don't have to do this exact process, right? It's up to you how you want to work. But let's find some images now. All right, so we could, let's go to Google. All right, somebody give me a noun. Nobody. Not that noun. All right, we can do clowns. Anybody go see the new It? Anybody see it already? Brittany? How was it?
It's terrifying.
Yep. I'm going to go see it on Friday. I loved the original one. This one.
Much better than the original.
That's what I've heard. Because the original one changes the book a lot, and the book is great.
It's more close-ish to the book, I guess.
I've heard that. Although they changed two of the... Okay, they changed two of the characters quite a bit, and I don't sure. Like Mike and Brenda, they changed, and I'm not fond of that. They're important characters.
More like the actual, like using the deadlights for it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like actually kind of makes it
super creepy.
Not just the clown.
Yeah, right. Well, because it isn't just the clown,
yeah.
like in the book.
The is more just it
Right.
changes a lot.
Oh, this one. Sorry, like right away. That is so weird. Alright, so save image. This is why I like this project. You just find weird stuff. I could spend all day doing this. Stick it in projects. So, oops. Okay. Clowns. Ooh. Huh. I'm gonna grab that one too. Sometimes it's good to grab multiple images that fit a theme. You can't have too many source images. I'm just gonna throw that out there. You really can't. I mean, give yourself the time today to really find and explore the images that are on the web. I avoid images like this because that's just bad. Clownfish took us a little while to get there. These are interesting. Oh, these are really interesting. Oops. Alright, we're going to do this one too. Alright, so that's 3. That's probably good. Alright, another noun.
Fish.
You guys are going to make this really difficult, aren't you? Alright, labeled for use. Okay. Fish. Kind of like this one. Sleeping fish. Oh, as in like how do fish sleep, not like get into a fish and fall asleep. That's what I was thinking. I was like, why would you want to sleep inside of a fish? Is this some sort of weird Norwegian thing?
Which of the fishes lives in?
There we go. Yeah, he's always late. You know what they say about people that are always late? They are never on time. Margate fish. Sometimes like, oh, that's interesting. Bones. Yeah, it's not the best image, but that's okay. We can do something with that. So that would be some really interesting texture, right? The repetition. It's hard not to think in terms of like, oh, I've got to use the whole thing, right? You can use parts of it. You'll get a sense kind of for what works and what doesn't work. I would avoid illustrations, drawings that other people have done, unless they're really kind of generic, I guess. Like those illustrations from old magazines would probably be okay. Oh, dried fish. What is that? We're gonna do one more and call it good. Part of me kind of wants to grab it. Kinda.
The other part of you should grab it.
What?
The other part of you should grab it.
Yeah, you think so? Not sure what I'd do with this. It's not. No. Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be really blurry. I was like, I'm not gonna use that. All right. I don't know if we'll use it, but I'll grab it. Fish sandwich, Filet-O-Fish. But I want the other bone one down here. That's fun. What is that? I have no idea what that is. Oops. Come back, clowns. Still a little blurry too, but that's okay. All right. All right. Another noun. Anybody? Bueller. No? Another noun. Just throw something out there. Not your question. Chocolate. You guys are gonna make this really tough. It'll be interesting. This is all stuff I would not have picked. Now I'm gonna get hungry. Man, I don't know what to do with this stuff. French fries and chocolate. That's what, churros? I'd put French fries and chocolate. Just try it. That's interesting. It's very flat though. I tend to go for things that have depth. Depth in a collage helps create the illusion of space, helps unify elements. Are you hungry? Is that why you picked chocolate? You like chocolate? Nice. That's fun. Put the little fake guy in there. It's like a model railroad worker, for model trains. I like stuff like that. Oops. I don't know. Maybe this one. Some patterns. I'm not logging in to download this image. Nope. So if you come across something like that, where they're like, oh, give us your personal information in order to get this image. Yep, still want me to log in. You can actually get around that. That'll work sometimes. It might not work on this one because on this site for this image.
Yeah, not that image.
Hey, there we go. Yep, that would be the more. There you go. I was going to show you a really complicated way. Awesome, thanks. So a really complicated way, I'm still going to show you, is go to your inspector, go to resources. In case it never in case there's an instance where it doesn't let you do that, all the images that the website loads are available under the resources tab. So you just find that image, cycle through it, come over here and say copy image, or you can actually even just drag it to your desktop. So for most sites that'll work. All right. Yep. I think we're gonna call chocolate done. All right, so there's a couple of other sites you could check. Like Flickr has the Library of Congress. Actually, let's do the British Library. And they put a bunch of photos on there, and they're all free to use. Oh, you know what? Is that from? Oh, it is the British Library. Okay. That's cool. I think the New York Public Library also does something similar. So you can get a bunch of things in here. Again, try to avoid things that are super flat, although maps are always kind of interesting, so you might be able to do something with that. But try not to use it as like a main element. Go through here and check. There is also... Oh yeah, sorry. This is my son at breakfast the other morning. Let's see if it loads. Yeah, he thought he was a riot. He kept putting him on and laughing. Anyway. Not that image. Got their albums. There's someone I follow on Flickr who, her name is Pillpat. Yeah. She always finds really great antique books and then scans them in, and pretty high res, and everything is available to download. And I'll provide a link. I'll make an announcement with resources and provide a link. So this would be a good place to look to grab things like weird paper craft stuff. She also travels quite a bit. You can check her albums. Let's see. Ah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So things like this. These are maybe not the best. These are really old and racially insensitive. So maybe don't use those. That's not what I clicked on. Sorry. Flickr's a weird site sometimes. Also, be very careful on Flickr because if you're sensitive to nudity, there are definitely lots of nude things on Flickr. Flickr is one of those sites that stuff will just pop up. So if that bothers you, turn on safe search. Okay. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. It's Flickr. It's just the way it is. So stuff like this would be kind of fun to use too. Like you could download these images and cut parts of these out. Some things like that. She has. I would just go through here and look at her stuff. She's got tons of them. You could also search like old advertising call it images. Just make sure that you're sorting by size and usage rights. These always kind of have a nice look when you include them in an image. It's a big image. All right, so you can go through here. Also, these kind of give you a good idea of how to maybe use some text, although you really don't have to make the text legible. You can, it's fine, but you don't have to. See anything else that is really jumping out at me? Yeah. I kind of like this though. So a trick that I use, or like a technique that I use sometimes, the same website, is to use a lot of architecture, because the architecture is always going to have perspective to it. And that perspective is going to create depth in your images. Okay, it's going to create the illusion of space, which you can use to good effect. Right. Yeah, we'll see. All right, we'll grab a couple more images. It's the British Library. See what they've got going on. Sometimes really old photos are great. Hey, space and sci-fi. Giant telescope image. So that's a little on the small side, but it'd be okay. Quick way to save this where you want to, just click on the name up here and then decide where you want to put it. Your recent places, whatever folders you've been in recently, that's going to be that source folder that I saved it at. Telescope, Scott, British Library. Oh, stuff like this, right? That's really intricate, very interesting, lots of detail. Would make a good piece. Oh. So, I would suggest grabbing a couple pieces of architecture. Is that a flying boat? What is that? It looks like a flying boat. It's very weird. These are mostly illustrations. Man, this site is so slow sometimes. Diagrams. All right, let's go back to albums. like I said, I mean, you really are going to spend most of today just finding images. Oh, here we go. Industry and technology. Some weird machines. The Edison multipolar dynamo. Sounds good. Okay, a couple more things. That looks like a person. So we'll grab this image because maybe we can do something with it. Incorporate it with a person somehow. Yeah. This one's really hard to pass up. Oh, these are good too. One more. No, it's all good. And just because you know, oh no, it's tiny. You can always, like, in the middle of it, if something isn't working or you think of another way to like add something to it, you can always come back and add things. You don't have to have it all right now. Find it all right now. Too small. All right, so I get really lost in this process. I'm sorry. I really like this process. Huh. What is this? Oh, it's like a box for putting specimens in, I guess. Yeah, why not? Sure. Okay. I don't think we have any pictures of people. Let's look at our pictures real quick. Okay. So we have some scary clowns. Let's open this real quick. Rotate it. Save. All right, I think this is all we have of people. So let's find that guy. So let's find a couple more of people, just to make it. Picture shows. But I would avoid illustrations of people, or using too many illustrations of people, just because the look is too specific to what it is. I would go with photos more than anything else. To that end, I usually like to find like an old photo album. Like the Library of Congress has a whole collection. So generally, like old black and white photos are really good. I would avoid anything that looks painted or illustrated, like I said. Lots of maps, jeez. So many maps. All right, site is really slow today. Well, you know what? How about we do this? We'll take. So a lot of the stuff I've been grabbing is kind of old, very weird looking, but maybe you find something that is a newer looking, very clean, crisp image, but you would need to match the aesthetic that you're maybe setting up in the rest of it. That's very easy to do. Just like we did with the series of 3, you know, you grab your image and then you'll apply layer adjustments and cropping and in order to get it to match. So what I'm doing right now is looking for something that could be sort of a center point or sort of a focal image, like a main element to my work. It's just kind of how I work usually. Um, Nothing is really jumping out at me. The legs are kind of okay. Her hair is nice. Man, maybe I need to like actually look up portraits. There we go. It's a little more specific. That's pretty good. Maybe I want color information though, just in case. That's pretty much my kid every day. Man, nothing is jumping out. Does anything seem interesting to anybody else? I'm at a loss here. Oh, not that one. That's nice. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of looking at these and I'm kind of keeping in mind all the other images that I've grabbed already. You know, they're sort of in the back of my head, and so when I look at these, I'm kind of thinking about how that stuff would be arranged or incorporated, like how I'm sort of just trying to let my imagination go a little bit. Man, sorry. These are all just like a little too specific. Like too pretty. Like that's the images are too nice. I can't really. I'll do something with this. All right, I better move on. So we'll grab that one, and we'll kind of move on from there. Except maybe one more, and then we'll go. I'll grab this one too. Say thanks. Gotcha. Gotcha. This would be interesting, except the smoke would be really difficult to cut out. Huh. It makes me want to try it though. All right. Sorry, I really do get lost doing this. I become a little obsessed. Oh yeah, I gotta just shut it off. Okay, let's move on. All right, so we got a bunch of images. If you want to review them, you can. I guess I shut that. Sometimes I like to keep them open. In a window. Right next to my desktop. Okay. Not that many. I will work usually if I'm doing this on my own. I'll work from a lot more than this. Like I have what 18 images. Honestly, I'd probably work from like 30 images, just to give yourself lots of wiggle room. Oh right, I was gonna do one from this book to show you guys kind of that. So if you're gonna pick one from a book, you'll just find something in here, or in any of them. Take a picture of it. Oh, a little RFID tracker. Be careful not to get like, shadow. Don't stand in the middle of your light. Your light behind you, the shadow over the image. That's gonna mess up your image. Alright, we'll put that. Let me send the image to myself real quick. We'll move on. You guys all know how to use AirDrop, right? Yeah. AirDrop decides to work. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll go from there. Okay, so we got lots of stuff. I like to work big to small usually, so try to block out kind of a big image. What do you think you're going to use as like one of your main images? I'm very intrigued by this guy's stance, the way he's just standing there and looking. I'm not going to use all of him, I don't think, at all, but I'm also interested in kind of her shape here, although it's not as dynamic as his shape, so we might not end up using her, but we might use him. And then I definitely like this guy, just the look of it. It's very bright, but it might be too bright for our purposes. Usually I would work from kind of an older image, but I think this will be okay. All right, I'm gonna start with this guy. So I'm just gonna drag the photo on Photoshop. It's gonna open it. I'm gonna copy it. Actually, you know what? Sorry, we're gonna do this different way. We're gonna place linked on all of these. Okay, that way it keeps our Photoshop file from being gigantic. No, you'd still need to turn in your source folder though. So here's the difference. I think we talked a little bit about this in the series of 3, right? The difference between place embed and place linked. Does everyone remember, or do I need to go over it again? Should I go over it again real quick? Yeah, okay. So place embedded, what this does is it's like copy pasting an image into your file. So it's actually copying and putting the pixels into your Photoshop document. Okay? So it will inflate your Photoshop document size. Okay? What place linked does is it doesn't actually put a full copy of the image into your Photoshop document. It just puts like a fake copy or like a virtual copy, like an illusion of a copy. Those are all terrible analogies. But what it's doing is it's just keeping it where it is on the hard drive, okay, wherever you put it when you first bring it into Photoshop. And then it's just referencing that all the time. It's looking there and saying, okay, I know where that image is. I know how to load it. I know what it should look like. But if you move it, so for instance, we do a place linked, right, of, for instance, this picture. I put that in there, like I place link it, and then we'll do the same image as a place embed. So I have these 2 images. Oops. All right, so I've got my place linked and my place embed. Right, so now if I save this doc, I'm going to save this Photoshop document. Again, name, project, save it, close it, come back over here, and now if I move that image, so it's not in this folder anymore, come back over here and I open this again, it opened. That's crazy. It shouldn't have. Okay, totally made a liar out of me. It should have broken the link, but it didn't. It probably will like show it to me, but maybe not let me edit it. I don't know. Nope. All right, never mind. Total liar out of me. Okay, well, that should have broken it. Weird. Okay, don't worry about it then. Although I recommend using. I recommend using place in bed, just to avoid that. Okay, let's get rid of the clowns because they're freaking me out. And then we'll do place embedded. We'll grab our guy. All right, so I'm going to start here. I'm starting with this because it's kind of what I think I'm going to build my whole image around him. But there are definitely things I don't need or want in this image. All right, but we also need to work non-destructively. So I'm going to put him in a folder real quick. So that everything I do to him will stay inside this folder. All right, it's just proper organization. So thinking about it, I think that what I'm gonna do is I definitely want to keep his outline. I don't know what we'll do to his face. Probably keep most of his torso. I don't think we're gonna keep his skinny jeans. We'll see. So I'm gonna grab my lasso. I usually start with just the magnetic lasso. So you just click once to start it, and then you just drag without clicking, kind of the outline of what you want to select. And it's looking at the pixels on either side of the line and deciding how similar they are to each other. And it just draws a line around really different pixels. Down here. You can also place again to sort of anchor it. So if I click now, if I click there, etc. So if you have an area like I did down at the bottom of his shirt next to his hand where the dark of the shirt and the dark of the jeans are pretty close together, you can click and add anchors in order to make it explicitly, like here I'm just messing this up because I'm moving around too much, make it explicitly place a line there. Like it messed up right here with his neck, so we'll fix that in a second. This is not the perfect way to do it, right? It's gonna mess up, so you will also need to kind of come in after the fact and fix it. So I have a line here, obviously that's a mess up. I'm gonna grab my lasso, hold shift to add to the selection, press alt or hold option to subtract from the selection. Okay, so if I want to take out a part of this, like I want to take out that part, I hold option and then draw the line that I want to take off. If I hold shift and add, I can add all of that like that. This is why the Wacom is really good for this kind of work. If you don't have a Wacom and you're using your trackpad and stuff, just go to your polygonal lasso and then you can just draw lines like that, etc. Okay, you're drawing little lines, and so you'll have to do like little short ones to get good organic shapes. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's like using like an X-Acto knife essentially, or scissors or something. All right. Okay, then I like to just sort of go around, like I kind of want that little bit of his eyelash there. I'll examine, I'll examine the rest of it. Like there's a little bit messed up here. That's a little too much right there. You just need to go through and sort of fix your selection. Messed up here. It's fine. I'm just kind of going down that line and looking. So, all right, so he's got some sort of hipster tunic thing going on. So let's grab that. All right. Okay. So I made my selection. Now, if I was just going to cut him out, like do a destructive edit, then I would leave my selection the way it is because I've selected everything on the inside here of these ants, right? I have him selected. And I could just hit Command X, cut him out, and have him just on a transparent layer all by himself with nothing on it. But we don't want to work destructively. You know, maybe I need to make changes later on or something, or I want to bring more of the image back in. Okay, we want to work non-destructively, which means we're going to use image masks. So to use an image mask, we need to paint out everything that's outside of him. Does that make sense? We need to make a mask that essentially is like a black piece of paper, and then we cut out a white hole, and everything that white hole is over is what you can see. Right? We need that white hole to be the shape of him. Right? So what you need to do is you make your selection, and then you invert your selection in order to make the image mask. So you'll come up to select, inverse. So now I'm selecting everything outside of him, so it just flips my selection around, and you can tell because now I have the marching line around him, but I also have it on the edges of the image. So that means I have everything in here between these two lines selected. Make sense? All right, once you have that done, make sure you have your layer selected over here, and then come down to your image, your clipping mask or layer mask. Hit that. Oh, totally did the wrong thing. Okay. Never mind. Wow, this is a day for me messing things up, isn't it? Okay, never mind. Just make your selection and hit image mask. Bizarre. All right. Apparently I haven't had enough coffee yet. But that's how you get... make your selection, then just hit the layer mask. Forget the inverting thing. Yeah. But that's how you get him isolated. So now he's on his own, which is how I want him for now. It's like you cut him out of a magazine. All right, so I'm going to bring some other stuff in. So I'm going to make another folder, put it up above it, and let's go look at the rest of our stuff. Here, I mean, it's really going to depend on how you want to work. Like I said, I work intuitively, so I'm just going to grab some things. Yeah, I'm just going to bring a bunch of stuff in, and then we're going to start messing with it. I know it's really long. I'm going to try to go a little faster to give you guys some time to work. We're going to grab that. We're going to grab this. We're going to grab that. Oops. No, I can just do one at a time. All right, place this. Place the clowns. Just hit enter. You can place a bunch of stuff at once. Or not at once, but you know. Normally I work with like a big face, usually. So we'll see. We'll see how this is gonna go. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I have an idea now. Let me get one more here. Okay. I'm gonna hide these two things. I had an idea for this, so all right. Make a group. Kid is too happy putting balls inside that clown's mouth. All right, so I want to use this clown's face, but not as like a. I don't want to cut it out as like an object or anything. I'm going to use it and try to like get it on his shirt somehow. And yeah, it's gonna be really weird. So in order to do that, I need to use this clipping mask because I need to hide everything outside of the clown that isn't a part of the shirt. So I'm gonna, you can duplicate the layer. Other things you can do is you can select this mask here. Like, make sure you have that mask selected. Grab your wand, your magic wand tool. Set your tolerance. Leave your tolerance at like 25. That's not gonna do it. You have to shut off this guy. Can you do it? Nope. Let me hide that. All right, you should be able to just copy paste it, or duplicate it. Nope. Delete. Select. Add mask. Oh, there we go. Add mask to selection. So now it'll select the whole thing, the whole mask. Come up to your clown layer. Make sure it's visible. So now I have that clown layer selected. And then mask it again. So now the clown is in there. Unlink them so that you can move the clown independently around try to pop it up and get it somewhere. So obviously there is some weirdness going on. Maybe we could like make it smaller and actually put the clown face up here somehow. Rotate it. This is when like skewing kind of can become a thing. Let's see, like his mouth is like down here. Oops. Right click, go to skew. This will let you kind of like tweak it. It's okay if it looks like really off. Try some perspective here really quick. You're not trying to like make something hyper realistic. Alright, I need to make it a little smaller. Thinking about like his eyes are, it's kind of way off. I might not use this one. Maybe we'll bring it back down. Alright, we're gonna make it part of the shirt. Oops. Okay. And then perspective, kind of turn it a little bit. Alright, so we'll stop there with that, and then I'm going to come back to the mask, and here's where you can start like painting on the mask itself. So I'm going to paint in black on the mask. When you have a brush or a pencil, you can change the size by holding Control and Option and dragging horizontally. And you can control the hardness, not the opacity, but the hardness by moving up and down, holding Option and Control and moving up and down. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to paint out some of the stuff to make parts of this still show up. So some of this you want to be kind of like a hard edge, but some you want to be softer. All right. For now, that's fine, but let's move down here right above, not inside the group, but right above it. All right, and then we can set our, and then this is when layer blending kind of becomes a thing. I'll do another demo on Monday. I'm going to stop soon so that you guys can find some images, but I'll do some more advanced techniques on Monday. But with layer blending, it's like that's super hard right now, and there's like no texture of the shirt coming through, and so it's very easy to be like, oh, it's just an image on top of him. I think I would also paint out like his arm here, so the arm comes through. This is really rough right now, but I'm just painting on the layer mask, not painting on the image. It's very important that you make that distinction. Just adjusting the opacity is fine, but then you kind of lose some of it. If you play around with your layer blending modes, then you can get much better effects, much more subtle effects. You can get things like that where it sort of sinks into it. This finds the darks and kind of blends it in. This burns it in. So go through and just kind of play with it. Screen's a little better. Like what I'm looking for here are like the highlights from his shirt kind of coming through. Lighter color. That's also a little bit better. Overlay. That's even better. Right, overlay sort of sinks it into his shirt, so it kind of now looks like the face is a little bit more of his shirt, right? So that's one way to go about it. Something else we're going to do to him now is like maybe I wanted to like split his head open and have stuff come out of his head, right? That's something very easy to do. Instead of like cutting it and doing a destructive edit, duplicate the layer inside of this. So you have one layer that is masked for his body, And then we're going to have another layer that is the top of his head that is masked for his head. Okay, so on this bottom layer, we're going to, with the mask selected and black as your color, we're going to come in here, and what I'm going to do is like paint away the top of his head. So like, oh, you're going to want a harder brush for this because you need the hard edge. So I'm going to paint away the top of his head. Okay, and then turn this one on, and now you're going to paint away everything below his head. So wait. How do I want to do this? Sorry, no, I'm thinking about it somewhere. Oh, right. No, that's fine. But we're going to move him really quick. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Like, huh. That made me just think about it in a different way. Sorry, now I just had an idea. So we're going to try this. And I'm going to duplicate it again. Well, not that one. Duplicate this one. And let's move this one a little bit. Except let's move it up above. Actually, let's step back real quick. Alright, I'm stepping back until I had overlay. Okay, I want to keep a fresh copy here because I want to keep that image mask. I want to keep one that is totally untouched, so that I can keep going back to it. All right, so this is the one where we'll cut off part of his head. Actually, maybe let's make it really big. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I'll turn this one on. Come here, and we will. I'm going to keep part of his arm. It's like if I move it, you can see it right there. I would clean that up later, but all right. So I moved him a little bit. Move his head. Get rid of this part. That's fine. Soften up just a little bit. Okay, and then decide like which parts you want to keep. I'm gonna get rid of his face right there, and maybe also get rid of this part of his head. And then we'll duplicate the bottom one again. Duplicate. There. All right. Drag that up to the top. Turn it on. Move him a little bit. So I'm kind of creating just like a weird stair-stepping that's going on with his. That will come down. And then again, going to paint the mask. Like get rid of this stuff. So one body, but maybe like a couple different hands or something. And faces. Yeah, that's kind of nice actually. Obviously not super clean. you can play with that later. All right. Sideways where. So that's kind of fun, and then we'll come through and we'll do the same thing with this part of his head, maybe, or I don't know, like cut out parts, do whatever, make it look weird. All right, and then, God, sorry, there's just so much to do. I know it's boring. Everybody's falling asleep. Come here. To the top. Up to the top. All right, so this one, we're just going to keep the top part of his head. But I'm going to drop my opacity so that I can kind of match that. So I can match that line there. Alright. And jump your opacity back up. And then you can move it. You can rotate it. But you're rotating the whole thing. So you gotta think about that. I'm just playing around. I have no idea what this is gonna do. And I don't know what else to stick in here right now. So I'm going to let you guys work for the last 15 minutes to start finding some images, okay? There's a ton of like art books and architectural books and stuff in these boxes up here. You can go through them. I'll bring them in next week as well, Monday and Wednesday. Both those days will be work days.